Hey, you didn't see it, but I was just going as fast as I could to change my shirt before the little timer counted down to 0. I think I made it in time. Hey, I'm Eric. I'm making faces. They show up in your web browser and they say things to you and you say things to them. And they're all kind of, it's not like AI, it's more like there's a story that's being told here, an interactive story. And it's based upon talking to characters with your mouth, using speech recognition, and then talking back to you using recorded audio, voiced by actors. Some of my favorite games just have really great voice audio in them. Portal 2. Grim Fandango, classic. So, like in this age where we just are kind of fetishizing what can be generated with computers automatically by the robots, this is a different approach. This is what can be artfully constructed to give you, the player, a sense that you are actually talking to someone, even if you aren't fooled. And what's going to give you a good time in that experience. So that's what I'm working on. Let's demo stuff done recently. All right, this is the screen that's used to edit the dialogue that characters will say in different situations. And I had a few days ago just this basic display of lines in a spiel, I call it, which is like an interactive screenplay. And then yesterday I added in a way to define a reply. So it's saying that for this particular line, when a reply matches some keywords that you might put in, the character will say something in response. Hiccups are taking over me. Disrupting my words with my hiccups. All right. So you can add the reply. You can say, okay, here let's look at it more like an actual use case. Okay, so say I'm coming here, and then on this line, when Jerry says, this guy over here, he's Jerry, we'll say, when he says, I'll be back in 5 minutes. The player, they might not say anything, in which case it'll go on to the next line, but maybe they break in with something. Maybe in the slight pause between these two lines, the player says something like 5 minutes, like taking issue with 5 minutes, like that's too long. Then maybe Jerry's supposed to say something assuring to them. Okay, so here, okay, so we have this line selected, we add the reply. So we'll say when reply matches 5 minutes. I can put more than one thing to match against too. I could just say 5. Then if somebody says 5, or they say 5 minutes, it can match either one of them. But I could put other things in there to match against, like too long. So if the player says that's too long, or 5 minutes too long, the different variations on that, it'll still match. Could just say I can't. Could say, and in playtesting you can pick up more phrases that a player might say, right? Okay, but that's enough for now. So then we say, then response, Jerry will go, yeah, just 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes. Give me 5. Back in a jiff. I'll be back in a jiff. Okay, so the point of having like more than one thing to say is so that these will be randomly selected, And when you have a script that's matching against specific things and it replies back randomly, it takes longer for the player to feel like they understand the rules for what the player is going to say in response to different prompts. So it adds a little bit of mystery around it. It gives some variety. Okay, so when I click update, it currently does nothing at all. Meaning all these edits I just put in, they're just going to be gone. Because I only wrote the UI for this yesterday. So today what I want to do is write the code that will store this information in the underlying data structure that gets saved automatically to persistent storage. And yeah, I think that's probably a good goal for the hour or so I've got to work on this. All right. I might have more time then. I'm going to send my wife a little text and hey, sweetie, when you getting home? Okay. All right, so let's code it up. I have my trusty GitHub Copilot helping me out. I am a new fan of it. It seems to do quite a lot of useful things. Not just impressive things, useful things. Okay. So if I look at update, it's going to do a callback to the onSubmit method. And right now, I don't think I've got that hooked up to anything at all. So I go up a level to the parent component. Also, I think I get to remote this to do. Go up a level to the parent component, which I call a screen. And I can see onSubmit does nothing at all. That's fine. I can fix that. Oh, I guess that's already there. Okay. Add reply. The things I want to pass into it. This is one of those moments where I've learned to just ignore Copilot's autocomplete. Because it's not that good in certain situations. And I'm starting to get a sense of when it's not going to do well and I should just ignore it. So let's do next reply. But in some ways, though, it's like if I've lost my certainty, that's when it's time to just kind of see what it's offering up, and maybe it helps you move along faster. Okay. So I need the spiel. That's the data structure that the reply will be added to. The spiel is going to have already have a selected node. Let me change the name of this to selected node, because this spiel data structure will have inside of it which node is selected. Next replies is what will get added to the spiel. And we will need to do a set revision and a set modal dialog. So its autocomplete's actually doing pretty good. Okay, so now I need to write this function. It's going to go in a file, a module I call edit interactions. Let's see how it did. I just tabbed in a whole chunk of code. It didn't get, the signature correct as far as matching the order that I just said, but it did pass in the correct parameters. Okay. So first thing it's trying to do is get the current node. If it doesn't get that node, it's going to throw an error unexpected. This is correct so far, or at least it's one way to do it. It may not be the way that I want to do it. Then it just tries to push the reply right on, which technically isn't bad. Like, it would work, but it's not the pattern I want to use. Update revision for Spiel, that is correct. This is essentially correct code. It got this wrong, so this should be a Spiel reply. I think it got that wrong because I hadn't imported it yet. Maybe. So let's just go up here and give it a Spiel reply. Then this is actually correct code, so Copilot did pretty well here. I just know that I would prefer to use the Spiel interface to add a reply. So the way this is written, let's see, I'm just going to look at its suggestion versus what the actual signature is. So we pass the match criteria, we pass the dialogue, pass the character, pass the emotion. That is all correct. Okay. So I don't need the node anymore. What I do need is to check that we have a current node. So I'll just put this in here. I can honestly say this is an example where Copilot saved me maybe 30% of my code writing time right here. Okay, that looks quite correct, and it got put into existence faster than if I had typed it without Copilot help. Although I have to subtract time for me praising Copilot. Spending all this time talking about how great Copilot is taking away my time. So let's just not be so intent on giving Copilot its due. Okay, add the reply, update the revision for Spiel, hide the modal. It's all good. That might be enough. Add reply to selected. Now I gotta do an import and Spiel screen. Go up top and clean up my imports. That's fine. It's even alphabetical. Good job. That one I have to give credit to Writer, not Copilot. Okay. The only problem is I've got not much of any way to verify. Actually, I do. I can go look at the write to the database. Okay, so let's add a reply. We'll say, shut up, quiet, shush. Or here, we'll say, you can't silence me. No. Okay. If I click update, what happens? There we go. Okay, so the modal went away, performed some update, and then I can't get to editing that same reply because I haven't added any visualization of the reply underneath. But this session is going well enough. I may be able to get something rudimentary in there, even if it's not perfect. Let's take a look at the application, the IndexedDB store. So in this key value thing, I've got one row for the Spiel, which is called the bag, which is the name I gave it. Inside of here, I should update this. I should refresh it. There we go. come back in. Inside of here, there's this blob of text. Oops. Show me that again, please. Okay, that's very small. Very small. Is there a way to kind of just copy it? Okay, this isn't like the greatest way. I'm going to squint over this just for a moment. Yeah. So that's the YML, which honestly is a pretty nice compact format for all this stuff. It looks perfectly correct, and it's all saved away. So that part's done. So I get to move on. I get to make some kind of visual representation of the replies underneath. See, I get to do more work. It makes me happy. Okay. So thinking about that. Inside of panes, got this spiel reply view. Yeah. Just gonna pause briefly and think about what's the best way to represent this. I have two ways I'm thinking about. And maybe I should be thinking about three ways. But here's the way I currently do it. I put a little summary underneath. It says, you can trust, that's the matching criteria, +3. Means there's 3 other things that it would match against besides you can trust. And then it's got what is said in response. Good, good. If I do an extra one, and it says good, good, +1. So that's kind of a neat, concise way of displaying that. And that's pretty good if I want to be able to show just a whole bunch of these underneath. Like maybe a person might want to show like 10 different potential replies to one line. All right, my wife says home and starving. Or she's on her way home. Wait a minute, did she say she is home or she's on her way home? On my way home, okay. Okay. But I'm thinking about something else. I kind of like this style of displaying things like an actual screenplay. So if I were to continue with that, probably the way I would do it is I'd write a line for player, and then for the reply that comes back when the player says a certain thing. And I do that repeatedly for multiple player things that could be said. And there might be some indentation to show that they were all coming off of this guy. Is that going to be better? I don't think it is, to be honest with you. I'm leaning back towards this other style, because we just tuck like a number of these guys underneath of it, and it would not clutter the screen up too much. Like I could put 10 of these in a couple of rows underneath, and it's only added like I don't know, an inch or something, less than an inch. So you can still see the overall flow of the spiel pretty fast and quick. I think that's the way to do it. And that's what I'll follow. All right. So that means that I should probably grab from this older project whatever code I used to summarize a reply. Let's do that. No reason to write that code twice. So it's kind of a first version of Wisp. Let's see, spiel view, reply, summarize text array, summarize text array. I see. So we go up to this common util text format util. Ooh, I'm guessing I've got test. Cancel. Yeah, I got test too. That's nice. Alright, I'm just going to take this whole thing, move it over to Wisp. Okay, I'm going to need to bring in a few other things. Car util. Okay. Okay, text format util. Taking a look at these things, I can see that there were some other functions I wrote yesterday that are probably a little bit more nicely implemented here. In fact, they are. See, this has got a little bit of extra logic that says if you've got all white space between two separators, just delete it. Just don't even worry about it. I like that. So the other thing I wrote, spiel formatting util, I'm actually just going to delete it. And that'll cause some syntax errors, but I've got all the code, the two new functions already there. The other thing I want to do is I wrote these unit tests. They're good unit tests. I just want to move them over into here. So I'll get some free unit tests for text format util and car util. So let's just add a couple more files for those. I'm not sure if there's one for car util. I'll check in a moment. Util test. Okay, come back over to conversations. There is one for car util. Quite a lot of tests there. Quite a lot. Okay, let's get one for car util. I'm singing no particular song. No reason for you to follow along. with my lyrics, composing. Okay, let me go drop that in, and that is making me feel safe. Maybe I shouldn't feel safe just because I've got tests, but who knows? Maybe it'll help me out. Or maybe it's just a little proof that I did some work one time and I'm slightly proud of it. A lot of times the real benefit of writing unit tests is they help you find some bugs in implementation as you write the unit tests. In that case, you could honestly say it might be better to throw the unit tests away afterwards if they're not really high value tests afterwards. But I'm going to leave them. Wait for them to break and be problematic in fixing before I just delete them all. Okay. So now I know that I've got some code that has syntax errors because I deleted some functions with the intent to call different functions that do about the same thing. Edit reply dialog. Let's go there first. Come on, where's my squiggles? All right, so we're going to do instead, we'll do import, not those, some new ones. What did I just call them? Split text and join text. Okay. Split text, join text. Okay. All right, and down here, text to text array is split text. And this is going to be split text as well. And got a few more down here to fix. These will be join text, going the opposite direction. Okay. Now I am pretty sure this one also has the same kind of deal in it. Let's do import split text and join text. Do you know where it is? You do. Good job. And then I need to sort these properly so they're easy to maintain as I go. Did I do that on the other one over here? I probably didn't. Nope. Why bother with that? Because when your imports get longer, it's harder to find what's already there. Okay, so text to text array, that is again split text. Go down a bit more and we get the other one, which is join text. Okay. So then I go back to the thing that I was working on, which was Spiel reply view. And I can do the same thing I did over in conversations. Yeah, successful Copilot insertion there. And this is going to be get reply summary text, and we will pop in the reply there. unless it's disabled. If it's disabled, that'll affect the on-click stuff later on. Okay. The rest of this might just be CSS styling. Let me take a look at what I did in conversations. There's this on-click, double-click, and all that. I'll come back to that. So I'll end up having something like this as well. But I'll come back to that. First, I just want to represent the information. So let's take a look at the CSS. Really? Oh, wait, this one. Here we go. Yeah. So I do want to use colors from my palette. Import colors. Is that how it works? I don't think so. I think that's wrong. Where else have I got this? I just always forget the syntax for a CSS import from another module. Let me see. The module that I'm going to import from is called Common Palette Module CSS. Common Palette Module, yeah. So this is an example, and we can do it like that. Okay. So bam. Do I want to? Let's see. Border color. I don't know. Let's just throw some stuff in and we'll play with it once it's on the screen. Accent dark gray, background color can be primary off-white. There's other colors in the palette I can use. I just want to start with something. Okay, so there's that, and then I have to make some parent actually render it. That would be Spiel node view. Okay, const replies. Close. Yeah, I mean, you got the right idea. And I am going to start using your idea. But actually, I want to put that in a function. Replies equals render replies. And we'll just pass in, yep, node replies. Okay, yeah. Okay. And then you don't really know what to do next, and I don't blame you. I mean, how are you supposed to make the leap, Copilot, that I intend to use the brand new Spiel reply view? I think like that, yeah. Okay, what's the issue there? Oh yeah, you're not a Spiel node, you're a Spiel reply. Okay, little mistake from Copilot. Okay, and it looks like got to do an import here. Clean this stuff up a bit. kind of don't know why I do this. Like, it might just be better for me to accept. Sometimes when you have done something stubbornly for a while and you say this is the way I do it, but it's not actually the best way, and then you're just doing it out of consistency. What I know I don't want to do is like the relative paths where you go back and then back up. But I don't see an actual problem with same directory relative path. That's actually probably a lot easier. I felt okay with using it here because my general principle was there's coupling between the location of the module I'm in and the CSS. And then other stuff I was like, maybe they won't be coupled. Maybe they'll be in different locations. But it's the same amount of work to fix a relative path to something else than it is to kind of fix up a absolute path. So I think I'm going to just let these relative current directory paths sit as is in the future. Okay, so rendered replies equals. Okay, so there's that, but I also want to say that if we don't have, yeah, that's what I want to say. Thank you. Good job, Copilot. Okay, so then we say at the end of this, let's do our rendered replies. Okay, what will that do? Is that enough to get a view of the replies? Let's take a look. It is. There it is, and it kind of looks good. It kind of looks good. There's a nice thing about it that I hit on by accident, which is if you don't have the line highlighted, then that little blurb there, what do you call it? A little rounded rectangle, whatever the name is for that. It's not too prominent, but if you highlight it, then the color around it makes it much more visible. So I don't know, that's kind of a nice effect. I can see a few things that I want to do. Like, let's just say, I don't know, what is making the width take 100%? Where is it getting that from? Width. How do you just say just okay, fit the content. There you go. That's all I want. Fit the content. Because what'll happen is I'll have like 5 of these things, and there'll be opportunities for multiples to display on one row, and that's going to help. That's going to help. Okay, what else? The border color. I'm thinking like I'd like it to be the same as this other border color that I'm using. And what is that? Easy to figure out. Okay. So I'm just going to do a few more CSS changes to this, and my wife just got home. I want to spend some time with her. So I'm going to wrap up the stream pretty quick after that. So a few more CSS changes, and then I think I'll call this a successful session. Say that 20 times without spitting on your keyboard. All right. So let's see. Say width, fit content, and the other thing is border color. I want to get, let's see, button highlight is what I used. I can do that again. Looks pretty nice. Okay, so if something else is selected, no, now it gets confusing. It gets confusing because this outline is indicating that this line is selected, but now there's two things that have that outline. It becomes confusing. What if I didn't have a border? Or like, well, no, like, say I have a border. Okay. Feels like it benefits from some kind of separation, even when it's not selected. Particularly if I come here. Yeah. Okay, inspect that guy. Okay, so what if I say the border color is I'm just giving it something to start, so I can click on the color picker and I'll say like this, but just a little darker. There we go. That seems kind of nice. Okay, so if I've got something else selected, that's no big deal up there. It no longer looks like it's competing for my attention in some way. Okay, so I don't want to lose this border color. It's actually a good color. I don't think I have anything defined like that in the palette, but I want it. Let's call this dark off-white. You know what another name for dark off-white is? Like gray. And I have totally lost track of whatever my principles were for calling colors accents or primaries. I had some kind of theory that sort of made sense at one point, but now I think honestly it's just a grab bag of different colors. There are some that are before I forget my paste, let me just put that in real quick. Common palette. See, I had all this stuff written that made it sound like so lovely and structured, and now I'm just kind of like, what's an accent? What's a primary color? Do I want secondary colors? Well, what the heck? Value. Light. Light gray. And I also forget if gray with an E is British or American, but I think that's fine. Yeah. Hobgoblins of consistency. I don't know what I'm doing with color palettes. I know what looks good. I am trying to reuse colors wherever it makes sense. Trying to run a tight palette, but my naming here doesn't make that much sense. That's falling apart a little bit on me. I think that tells me next time I want to design a palette that I'll just not try so hard to group all the different colors. But for now, what's that? Primary light gray. Primary light gray. Looks like I screwed up a little bit. What I meant to do was say the border color was primary light gray, and this one is going to be... Okay, hold on. Is that going to do it? I think so. So I'll go here and I'll add a few more replies. We'll say reply matches don't believe bullshit. No way. Doubt. I don't believe it. I'm telling the truth. Not lying. Update it. Alright, so now we got two replies here. And I like the presentation of those. I shouldn't worry too much about the presentation, but it is pretty neat and tidy. You know what else I'm going to do? I'm going to subdue the text a bit so that you can kind of more easily read the text above that this is tied to. So by subdue it, I mean let's change the color of the text to not be black. Okay, font color. Yeah, I'll try one of my predefined colors. Font color, and then I was just looking at this. What's one that seemed like maybe dark gray, something like that? Dark primary silver. Accent dark gray. See, I'm calling them accents, but in this case, it's not an accent at all. It's just it's doing the opposite of an accent. It's all context, you know. So, like a thing I could do if I really wanted to be a purist. No, it's not font color; it's just color. If I like a color but it's used in different ways, I could say, you know, text subdued or something like that, you know. But it could have the same hex color value, but it would just have a different context. But yeah, the original concept of an accent is that it's a splash of some kind of color that stands out. But since it's all relative to what other colors are there, it's hard to, yeah. Okay, so this isn't bad. I think I'm getting the effect I want. It does kind of look disabled though. That's the only issue. I'm really futzing too much with color. I'm going to settle on something pretty quick here and not look back. Come on, where's my color picker? All right, so if I go for like a dark brown, I like that. I do like that. Okay. That's pretty good. Okay. So I'm so stymied with these colors and how to name them. I'm just gonna drop this in. I'm just not gonna worry too much about providing a constant for it. Yeah, so I think that's it, really. I think that's what I'm going to do in this session. I think that's going to be good. If I go like this, does it... Oh, I really would like them to inline. So let's fix that. Display inline. What's the difference between inline and inline block? Okay. So I want it to go down to the next, and then, okay. So for that, pretty easy. Spiel node view. We just take the rendered replies and we put them inside of another div, and that will also get a class name, styles, reply container, and in the middle of it, all this stuff. You know what? I would like it better to say const rendered replies equals, I'll let you complete that, but it's just going to be what I had here. Which might be exactly the same thing. Yeah, it is. Okay. Then let's do that, and then a div on the end, and that's much cleaner. It's just kind of weird to mix in like JS to HTML to JS to HTML and embedded that way. I'd rather break it up, make it simpler. Okay, so then the styles reply container. I don't think I need to do anything in the CSS definition. No, it just automatically is going to bring it down to another line. But I can see they could use a little bit of spacing above. So, all right, you get your own style. Spiel node view module, and you're going to get just calm down. Margin top, we'll do 0.3 rem. Is that going to do it? That's pretty good. That's what I want. I like that. And it also is doing a nice job of coming up on the one row where appropriate, but if I go in further, it's going to do that. Just guessing the inline block means keep it together. But hold on, let me see. I'm going to try to learn something right here. So I said do inline. Inline block, does that mean keep the whole component together? It does. Okay, so instead of it doing the wraparound thing, it's like as soon as it can't all fit on the line, it'll bring it down to the next. Is that better? I'm not sure. I think this might be better. Nope, I don't think it's better. So it's like one of those things where you, in some situations, it might be a little nicer, but most of the time it's visually confusing to have this guy get split and have the rest of it be rendered on the other part. I have used that in a few places, that effect. Like if I go add reply here. No, I was inline blocking it here too. Or at least it's not using the split on between words because there's only one word in each button. Okay. So this is a good place to end the stream. Gonna go get some food for my starving wife and myself. And yeah. Stopping the stream.